Hi and welcome to this live stream on the Collective. I'm joined today by Chris Windrum from Cooks. Hi Chris, how you doing?
Hi Guy, good to see you.
Yeah, likewise. And we're here on a MythBusters live stream. So the idea of these sessions, it's a follow-up from Alina and Jess's one last week, taking 10 minutes or so. We'll see if we can keep it within 10 minutes. Just chatting about some of the myths in the industry. And hopefully helping people to share, collaborate and grow, because that's what we're all about on the Collective. Wherever you're watching this, this is a weekly series, these short live streams, just helping people to share, collaborate and grow, which is what the Collective is. Essentially, it's a network of fitness professionals. We have these live streams, we have podcasts, we have actual events that we go to as well. Yeah, so the idea is to help the industry. Cooks are supporting this. Chris is the CEO of Cooks, and we've come up with a few different ideas. There was a poll on LinkedIn about what are the pressing matters in the industry. And what we're talking about today is why reaching the other 85% is so hard. Before we actually talk about attracting the other 85%, I think it's always good to start with why. A wise man once said that. So, yeah, before we get into the kind of nuts and bolts of that, why is it, Chris, and particularly thinking about your clients, maybe talk about some of the people I talk to as well, but why do you think they want to attract the 85%, or what is it they're trying to achieve by attracting the 85%?
Well, this is a very popular topic, guys. Quite a lot of people asked us about this, and it's been popular during quite a lot of the events over the summer. So just a little bit of background. Cooks provides management software solutions to very often our clients are the premium, very high service orientated boutiques. And very often it's very hard to find a gym that isn't looking for additional members. And there's very much a synergy here because the other 85% are basically, in a nutshell, the people that you haven't got. So very often the customers that you'll have in the gym, and most gyms can be the 25 to 30 or 5-year-olds. Quite a lot of focus on the over 50s now, those sorts of groups. But the commonality is that they're predominantly driven by fitness. They're looking to get fit. They're looking for that training element. The other 85%, I would suggest, are people like me. People are a little bit more complicated. We're all living a lot longer, which is probably a good thing. If I get to 80, God willing and all that, I want to be in a position where I'm actually able to function and continue to enjoy my life. I don't want to get to 80 and find out completely knackered because I've neglected my health along the way. So alongside that, we know that our NHS is challenged by its resources and the number of things that it's having to deal with. The reality is that the services that our fitness facilities can provide are services that most of the population need. They don't necessarily know that they need them, but they do need them. And there's a great opportunity for gyms here to make a real difference in the lives of these people. But as you kind of alluded earlier, guys, how do you reach them? How do you get to them? And that's what we'll cover in the next few minutes. And there's some real tricks and quick wins that I think can make a difference to facilities engaging with this broader audience and making a real difference both to their business and the lives of these individuals as well.
Yeah, and I think that the making the difference to the business thing is the why for me. Whether it's a small studio or wellness business, getting more members is okay. But when we're thinking about that why, I think we've really got to think about, do we just want more members? And we'll get onto this a little bit next week with the next of these sessions. Why more members doesn't necessarily mean more money. But before we jump onto that, it is about helping the NHS. It is about helping the health of the nation. But does that make a difference to your business? And one of the things I believe and know to be true is that businesses that are attracting the 85% and doing it well, it's more about business diversification. It's more about not just talking to the fitness people, but having not just more members, but more breadth of members and building more resilience into the business, particularly after the pandemic, and saying, you know what, if we just have 100 fitness members or 1,000 fitness members or 5,000 fitness members, what do we do if that happens again? So the why for me is a lot more about robustness and resilience and diversification of the business as well. And I think once you know that, once you know why you're after the 85%, and hopefully it's not just about member numbers, then I think you can start talking about how you get them. And I think Jess and Alina covered this a little bit last week in talking about language. And that language piece is really important. Right, Chris?
Absolutely. It is very much about engaging with those individuals, empathizing with them, and addressing them in the way that is going to make sense to them. I mean, I think, and I'm not being facetious when I say this, but I think one of the things that we also need to ask ourselves is whether you actually genuinely want those other 85%, you know, because a lot of the coaches that we work with are absolutely fantastic in their field. They're superb coaches. They themselves have perhaps come from an athletic background. When they opened up their facilities, their vision was probably about training people in their image. You know, they wanted to be working with people who are driving to be the absolute peak of their physical selves, and that's not necessarily what the rest of the population is after. So, as I say, I'm not saying that in any facetious way, but the genuine question is: do you want to be working with people who are driven by fitness, or people who are perhaps learning and a little bit more reluctant, but you're taking them on that journey, and it's a long journey. It could be a hard journey, but a very valuable journey, both to them as individuals and to you as your business.
Yeah, I think that's really true. And then that probably moves on to, and it's something I think the industry's got a lot better at as a whole, is the imagery that we use. I think that's improved a lot more inclusive imagery. I don't just mean, EDI as in, different races, genders, ages, but also different shapes of people, saying, everyone is welcome. But what I think we need to change more is the language. And again, it's starting to happen, but we are talking more about movement than exercise, more about health than fitness, activity rather than workout. Because as soon as you start using words like exercise, workout, fitness, you're going to turn off a lot of the 85%. So using the right kind of language and talking about people like them, using stories of people like them rather than people like you, because you're absolutely right, Chris. A lot of people in fitness just want to train people in their own image. A lot of people love PE, and I know you and I both didn't, but
I mean,
here we are still.
Particularly in our part of the sector, Guy, we talk a lot about challenges, like 21-day, 28-day challenges. We talk about shreds and things like that. Those are fantastic for the people that are driven by that fitness element. It's absolutely terrifying for a lot of other people. We will see a lot of the bigger facilities now, particularly the chains, they won't use words like that. They won't talk about challenges. They will talk about health kickstarts and things like that. It's a lot softer, it's a lot gentler, it's a lot more engaging. Also, there's some real business differences to it as well. So when you talk about a 21-day, 28-day challenge, it's got an end point. When you talk about shred, it's got an end point. When you talk about a health kickstart, you're talking about a beginning, you're talking about something that's ongoing. When you're talking about challenge, there's no point to already ending the relationship before you've begun. We want to set the mindset that this is an ongoing thing, we're on the journey together, and it's something you go hand in hand, because gyms to a lot of people are absolutely terrifying. A lot of people have still the old stereotypical view. And whilst I think that to an extent is now long gone, thankfully, certainly all the people that we work with are wonderful, kind, engaging individuals. Physical presence can still be intimidating. So when you go into a gym and the first person you meet is absolutely their peak fitness, that can be slightly terrifying, and it can actually turn into a negative. It's all the words and all the language and all the visuals have to be in the right angle. And as you say, we have got a lot better at that, Guy. So now you see a lot more people who are on their journey rather than having reached a certain level of fitness already. But we need to look at all elements. So things like clothing that they're wearing, if they're kitted head to foot in, Lululemon and Nike, fantastic. But there are a lot of people at home will be thinking, I haven't got that in my wardrobe. I can't necessarily afford that. That already a little bit of a subliminal message there. And similarly, if you're standing in front of a big neon saying "sweat is fat crime," that's not necessarily the consistent image as well. So all of these things are very subtle, but they can make a difference to engagement and how you bring people on board.
Yeah, it really does. It all adds up, and yeah, the words, and I think the progression part is really important. But I think you make a really good point about the journey, or the shreds, or the transformation program, or the challenge which finishes. And again, Alina and Jess talked about it a bit last week. If you didn't see last week's session, go back and get it on catch up wherever you're watching this, YouTube, LinkedIn. It'll be there in the stream. You might scroll back a little bit. We're talking about the easy in. For people, and having a limited number of products, but you need something that speaks to different people. You don't necessarily need something that is going to motivate the person that's already motivated, like the big neon sign, but you need a plan and a pathway and something that people can see what journey they're going on. But also, if there is a destination, it should be a continuous journey. But what happens? What are the progression? What are the milestones that they go on through that journey? Something I talk about a lot, and it's probably not for the smaller studios. It's more for local authority. But people on a 12-week exercise referral program, for example, are often frightened about what happens after week 12. Will they have to do a membership? But it's about selling the whole journey and what's going to happen next as well, I think. So there shouldn't be an easy in necessarily. It's not a membership or a pack. Again, like Jess and Alina were talking about, there's that nurture process. Coaching people, talking to them about their choices is really key when talking to the 85%. Offering them some choices, great, but helping them with the choices they want to make, which almost certainly isn't pick up the heavy thing, lift it above your head 10 times and put it down again. What else have you got that's going to appeal to those kind of people? And as you say, Chris, how can you yourself and how can your business appeal to them more?
I think it's taking a slower approach to the engagement as well, realizing that it probably will be a bit of a longer sell. So very often, again, in our sector, we'll do we are looking for 10 men in Little Chadlington kind of approach, and then you go to the landing page and you've got a 12-hour countdown to get involved and be part of it. That isn't generally going to work for the broader audience. That's going to work for people who are, right, I'm engaged, I'm already going to make the decision, I'm straight in.
Yes. Yeah, I did this last year. I'm going to do it again this year, probably in January, right?
Absolutely.
Same old.
It's a much slower sell. It's a lot more engaging, and it has to be a lot more welcoming. You're kind of building a relationship with people before you've already met them. And when they do have the bravery to come to your facility, that you're there for them, and it's what they are hoping to find.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Which again talks back to last week's episode, if I could call it an episode, of nurturing people, bringing them in, having a chat to them, giving them some coaching, maybe a measurement on the body composition scales, and then inviting them back next month. That might be it. But I was listening to another podcast about the Jaguar rebrand. God knows there's lots of them at the moment. But you're not selling to 100% of the people, but you are nurturing them and you're keeping them engaged and giving them a little bit more, giving them some help with their health. And when they're ready, they know when they're going to come. So yeah, the slow approach is absolutely key. Anything else? As usual, we've gone over 10 minutes, but
just sort of quickly add on that, I think broader there are other considerations as well, which is more fundamental. So again, coming back to language, you could have all of your language right in what you're presenting in your marketing, but if your fitness facility is called Ripped Fit or something like that, again, that could be a fundamental barrier. It really is a case of looking at everything that you're presenting to your audience and making sure that it's genuine and that it does follow through in every aspect. Whilst it sounds simple, there's a lot to it. As you say, God, we've already run over, so we'll start to draw to a close. But we'll put out additional information on this, and I know that Collective has got lots of supporting information. So do check them out, look at their feeds, And thank you, Guy, for arranging this.
Yeah, no, not at all. So, I mean, just a quick summary, the 85%, I think first and foremost, think about your why. Why do you want them? Because that will then drive your messaging, which needs to be right in terms of imagery, language, but also, as Chris says, what you look like and what you're looking for. But go through that why first, and then nurture people. This is a slow cooker approach, I think, rather than a smash burger quick fix. Food analogies, other food analogies are available. Next week, we're going to be chatting about, as I said or alluded to earlier, why more memberships doesn't necessarily mean more profit. So join us again, same time, or on catch up afterwards. And yeah, if you think this would be useful for anyone, as I say, whichever channel you're watching this on, we'll be back next week. There will be more of these. There's lots more stuff going on the collective. So give us a like, subscribe, follow. Thank you very much for listening. And thanks again, Chris.
Thanks, guys.